wealth for their companies and for their people, and also great wealth for the American people, and tremendous wealth for the companies that are going in. The companies that are going in, and if you don't want to go in, just let me know, because I got 25 people that aren't here today that are willing to take your place. So I just want to thank, these are people that I either know or I know of by reading lots of business magazines and journals and papers. These are the greatest oil people anywhere in the world. Harold Hamm, I see, is here. Harold, you know, there's a story about Harold Hamm that he could look at a piece of land, put a straw into the land, and oil pours out. Is that true about you? Whereas some of you guys have to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to find that oil. So we can't let that story be true. But they say Harold puts a straw into the land and oil comes gushing out. So you're not a big R&D person, are you, huh? He's called Instinct for Oil. Now, he's got other problems, but we won't talk about those problems. But he's been a great supporter of mine for a long time, haven't you, Harold? So congratulations. But we have, and I think Harold would agree, we have the greatest oil men and women anywhere in the world sitting in this room right now. And we have a lot of people that will be back to see us sometime next week. We're going to have another meeting for another group. But we're going to do this very quickly. We can have this done almost immediately. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to invite Vice President Vance to say a few words, followed by Secretaries Rubio, Burgum, and Wright. And then we'll have a few words from representatives that are here and to discuss their ideas, a couple of them. We have Chevron, which has been, where's Chevron? Where are you?
Yeah, far right.
Oh, I thought you'd have a better location. You were the only one that was there for all that. I used to call you and say, what the hell is going on with Venezuela? He stuck it out. I don't know if you made money or not, but you stuck it out. They got to give you a lot of credit for that. Mark Nelson, thank you very much. Exxon CEO Darren Woods. Darren, thank you very much. How's Exxon doing? Okay? They'll do a lot better now, won't they, huh? Exxon's been amazing. It's been an amazing company.
I'm Sean.
And I'm Elliot.
And we're the co-managing directors of Booty, a sustainable underwear and clothing brand.
Our old e-commerce platform was clunky, and it relied on developers.
We needed flexibility, control, and speed to grow.
So we switched to Shopify, reducing manual tasks, increasing automation and security, and finding more time for the business.
Since then, our team and sales have only grown.
It's a no-brainer for any business at any stage. Make the switch to Shopify.
Just again, appreciate you all being here, and I'd like to ask JD to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to everybody for being here. You know, as a Marine Corps veteran for my entire lifetime, presidents, and let's be honest, they were Democrats and Republicans, would send the American military to far-off places. They would get us involved in these endless quagmires. They would lose hundreds or thousands of American lives, and the American people would get nothing out of these missions of drug overdose deaths in the United States of America. An amazing thing, and I'm happy to be here to talk about how we can make it an even bigger and better operation for the American people. And I'm happy to be here to talk about how we can make it an even bigger and better operation for the American people. And I'm happy to be here to talk about how we can make it an even bigger and better operation for the American people. And I'm happy to be here to talk about how we can make it an even bigger and better operation for the American people. And I'm happy to be here to talk about how we can make it
to have in our own hemisphere a country not just with vast energy reserves, but controlled by an indicted narco-trafficker who flooded our country with illegal immigration, including drug gang members, openly cooperated with drug gangs, and by the way, openly cooperated with drug gangs, and by the way, stole the wealth of that country to fund a repressive regime and also benefit adversaries such as Iran. All of that is now changing. As part of this process, the first phase, of course, is the phase we're in now, which is the stabilization phase. We do not want to see destabilization in the country. We're working very cooperatively with the interim authorities there to provide a market for the sale of the wealth of Venezuela in such a way that benefits the people, both of the United States, but also the people of Venezuela. And as a reminder to everyone, the President announced this just 2 days ago, every penny, everything they buy with the money that they're making from the oil now, Mr. President, will be bought from America. And that includes everything from equipment for the oil industry to food to medicine and everything in between. The second will be a phase of recovery, and then some of these phases will overlap, and that is to have a normal economy again where the money goes to the benefit of people, not the benefit of our adversaries or the benefit of elements in that country and around the world that are against our interests, at the same time as a process of reconciliation has to happen internally among the different sectors of society and politics and the like. And finally, the third phase, which is the most important of the three, is when the country fully transitions into a normal country that we have strong economic and diplomatic and relations with, that is friendly towards the United States, that's not a foothold for our adversaries, that serves our interests, but also the interests of the people. It'll be a country that is wealthy, a country that is prosperous for the people, not for a handful of criminals, but also a country that is supportive of our interests in the region and throughout the world. And we thank you, Mr. President, and the team you've assembled that have brought us to this point. A lot of work remains, important work, but this is historic.
Okay. Thank you very much. Doug?
Well, Mr. President, I want to thank you for your leadership, not just as President, but as Commander-in-Chief. The boldness, the execution, the breathtakingly precise work that you've delivered both in Iran back in June and here has changed the field for the whole world. And you always ran about the idea of peace and prosperity. And in Venezuela, as you know, this was a playground for every bad actor in the world. We had Russians, Iran, terror groups, all of them profiting from this criminal organization that was pretending to run the country. That makes America safer. You've secured the border, we're stopping the flow of drugs, and now with the normalization of relationships on an economic basis, it's going to mean tremendously for the propping the flow of drugs and now with the so I just want to say relationships on an economic basis, it's going to the entire leadership tremendously for the been an amazing historic American people on the scale. I just want to say we haven't seen congratulations for 125 years to the entire leadership team. It's been an amazing historic week in a way the scale of things that we haven't seen perhaps for 125 years in terms of the U.S. that are here today exerting its influence. Chris and I want to say thank you to all of you in a way that's going to make a change for generations. Your innovation, and on behalf of all the oil executives that are here today, we are the most energy. Chris and I want to say thank you to all of you, and that is your technology, your innovation that has put America in a place where today we are the most military country. None of that would happen, and that if we were dependent on everybody else for energy. So you're a big part of the actions we're taking that we're able to move the way we are military action. None of that would happen to be part of we were dependent on everybody else for energy. So you're a big part of the reason that we're able to move the way we are today. We're grateful that you're here to be part of the solution going forward.
Chris, thank you, Doug, and you are doing a fantastic
Thank you, Mr.
job.
President.
We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Everybody appreciates it.
What we've seen in the last week is leadership matters and credibility matters. Venezuelan oil has been sanctioned for many years. What we've seen in the last week is leadership matters and credibility matters. That oil has just floated out, sanctioned for many years. Actors of the world, and the oil just flew, with those sanctions were not in place. That oil just floated out of Venezuela. Trafficked by bad crisis for the people of Venezuela. And as Secretary Rubio said, massive spillover effects in the United States. Venezuela has been a crisis for the people of Venezuela. And as Secretary Rubio said, massive spillover effects in the United States. In crime, in drugs, in kidnappings, and in taking a huge resource base and making it not exploited. They've been underground for a million years. The whole world that does not make less opportunity. That does not make them valuable for your country, when you have materials underground, they only become a resource. That does not make them a resource. That does not make them valuable for your country, your people, or the world. The harvesting of those resources to make the better world. With technology, and we see here the dramatic contrast between the United States governance, which may have less oil the harvesting of those resources to make the better world. And we see here the dramatic contrast between the United States, which may have less oil underground than Venezuela, living here in the United States, that was the production of Venezuela. 20 times the impact of human energy that makes the world go round. Better quality of living here in the United States has removed those risks. Under the last administration, we've seen a lot of how the world is energy that makes the world go round. President Trump's election has removed those risks. The United States has embraced reality about how the world is energized, diesel prices, record production of oil in the United States, record production of natural gas in the United States, taking the genius of a different way to try to solve diesel prices, travel prices, festering problem in Venezuela. And now President Trump is taking the genius of a different way to try to solve a tremendous military operation problem in Venezuela. The heads of the criminal organization masquerading as a government, but ordering both a tremendous military operation to remove, but to stop the criminal organization masquerading as a government, immediately and then to use the power of our military, not to fire bullets in Venezuela, but to stop and has allowed us to be in this position to the world, where immediately gave us leverage over the interim authorities in Venezuela and has allowed us to be in this position today, where the actions of this government can massively improve Venezuela for the better of the United States. The bigger impact is to massively improve the quality of life, affordability, safety, and security of the United States. Who's the vice chairman of Chevron. Chevron has been in Venezuela for over 100 years. To Mark Nelson, who's the vice chairman of Chevron. Chevron has been in Venezuela for Mark is a tremendous leader in our industry. And I'll turn it over to him. Mike Wirth, the CEO, had a knee replacement recently. He's not here.
Again,
Mark is a tremendous leader in our industry.
Really wanted to be here, Mr. President.
And I'll turn it over to him.
Great guy.
On his
Thank you,
behalf,
Secretary
I
Wright.
have three
Again, I'll
quick
send Mike Wirth's regrets. He really wanted to be here, Mr. President.
Great guy.
The first thank you on his behalf,
President, is
I
to
have
you.
three very quick convening this gathering. It's thank
and
you for
assurance
your
I'd like to
leadership
provide you all.
and thank you for
The first thank you,
continuing to
Mr. President, is
keep
to you.
American energy
It's thank you for
domination
convening
in
this
the
gathering in
the
The
forefront.
global
So thank
AI
you.
market
Thank
is
you for that.
projected to reach $1
The second thank you actually
$1,770 billion
is to the cabinet.
by 2032.
So Secretary
Do you have the
Rubio,
skills needed to
Secretary
seize this
Berger,
opportunity?
Secretary Wright,
Build a
your
rewarding
ability
career
and
in
commitment to
AI with the
continue to
postgraduate
engage with
program in
parties
AI
around
and
the
machine
table
learning,
to
business
keep the world
applications.
working,
Take the
is
first
greatly
step towards
appreciated.
AI
So
mastery.
Thank you.
Apply
Thank you for
now.
that. And the final thank you actually
around the table
our Venezuelan
to keep the world
employees
working,
is greatly appreciated.
They
So
have been
thank you.
working
Thank you for that.
tirelessly
And the final
to
thank you
operate
actually
safely,
go
protecting
to
the environment
our Venezuelan
in-country
employees and their dedication
They
and
have been
skill
working
will help us
tirelessly
next to operate safely, protect the environment.
finally, I'll close
in
with
country
the assurance
and their dedication
for more than a
and
century,
skill will help
Chevron
us
has been
in
a part
this
of
next
Venezuela's
past chapter. We are
And
certainly
finally, I'll
committed
close
to
with
its
the assurance
present.
for
And
more than
we
a
very much
century,
look forward as
Chevron has been a
American
part of
company to
Venezuela's
help
past.
build a better
We are
future.
certainly
And
committed
so, Mr.
to
President,
its,
thank you for your
present.
leadership.
You
And
really
we
suffered
very
there.
much
You-
look forward
you
as a
stuck
proud
it out.
American company to help it build a better future. And so, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership.
And you really suffered there. You stuck it out. A lot of people left. A lot of big companies left. Some of the people, many of the people left sitting at this table left because of that. The safety risk and other risks. I remember you stuck 6 months ago. I told you to stay. Just stay. Sometimes it was hard. Things are going to happen. You'll be very happy. 6 months ago, I told you to stay. Just this conclusively. Things are going to happen. You'll be very happy. One thing I think everyone has to know this fast or this conclusively. One thing I think everyone has to know is that, and if China or Russia were the next door neighbor, because essentially China or Russia were other parts of the world so far away. Essentially, this is not around flying an airplane for 24 hours so far away. This is flying an sort of a next 24 hours before you get there. This is sort of a next door neighbor. I told China and I told Russia, and we get along with you very well. I told China and I told Russia, we don't want you there. We get along with you very well. We like you very much. China, we don't want you there.
In June, when Iran essentially attacked 100 days air base here, saying that this is a U.S. asset, they said that they're attacking U.S. assets. But Qatar said, no, this is an attack on its own sovereignty. This is a Qatari base that the Americans are using. So this is a direct attack on them.
They do Russia can oil, even though they produce a lot of it.
Essentially now they said it's about securing all of their assets. They are in touch with all their clientele across the world, especially when it comes to energy needs.
Will be spent very,
from the east to the west. So they're holding this as a contingency the moment, which we've already planned, that they will ensure the safety of onshore and offshore personnel before continuing, and they're also monitoring the security around that. So essentially, they're battening down all hatches at the moment. When it comes to evacuations, they will do that when it's safe to do so. We've seen in Dubai, there have been some planes now going very limited number. If you look at flight radar, it's still an incredibly limited commercial flight taking people out. There's still flights going on in Riyadh. So again, he said they're monitoring the situation.
Okay, Laura, thank you for the update. That's Laura Khan reporting live from Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Doha.
And the other
Now, the
thing,
United Nations Refugee Agency estimates at least 30,000 people are now internally displaced inside Lebanon since Israeli attacks escalated on Monday. It's also observed a significant increase of Syrian refugees in Lebanon crossing over into Syria. More let's go live to Obaida Hito at the Lebanon-Syria border. When we talk about a wave of displacement, Obaida, what does it look like where you are?
Do the second wave. We were planning on a second wave, so good and so strong. But the first wave was so, and frankly, the people in the country, frankly, they did the right thing. In the country, they did the right thing. They did the right thing.
10,000 people have arrived. Since we've been here this morning, we've seen hundreds of more people enter into the country. We've tried to get a number from authorities here of the total amount of refugees that have entered since this escalation in Lebanon, but they haven't confirmed a final number yet. The number continues to increase, and the authorities say they're ready to accept more people. What you're seeing are these vehicles from the General Port Authority here, busing people from the crossing all the way to this administrative building, and you see the traffic there, the crowd of people in front of this building. All of these people that are arriving are going inside, filling out their paperwork. Most of these people are Syrian citizens. Now, there are other people entering into Syria from Lebanon, including Lebanese citizens and foreigners. The Lebanese citizens do not have an exception yet. The same rules that were in place before this escalation are still in place. They have to have a relative here in Syria, or be married to a Syrian, or have a pre-existing doctor's appointment or reason to be in Syria, or a residency permit. But Lebanese citizens have come into Syria through this border crossing over the past 24 hours. So have borders. However, the vast majority of people here are Syrians. The situation remains calm, even though, as you can see, there's lots of women, children, elderly people, sick people. There's a medical point here where people can get treatment, but the flow of people is constant and has increased significantly in the last several hours since Israel announced more evacuation orders in the southern Lebanese border area.
And what are the people who have been telling you about the circumstances in which they left?
Win proposition. Obviously, it has to be a win for the company and our shareholders.
They are telling us that they left under fire. Many of the people that we spoke to left areas in southern Lebanon that were under Israeli shelling. They left in the middle of the night. Most of these people have been on the road for the majority of the past 24 hours, trying to reach this border crossing and then trying to cross over into Syria. All of the people that we've spoken to have
with respect to Venezuela in particular, we have a very long history in Venezuela. In fact, we first got into Venezuela back in 1940s.
Plans, especially the Syrians, have no plans of returning to Lebanon. Most of them have packed up all of their belongings.
So you can imagine to re-enter a third time would require some pretty significant changes from what we've historically seen here, what's currently the state.
Even
if we look at the legal and commercial constructs and frameworks in place today in Venezuela,
than it is in Lebanon, the future is unclear for them. Some of them left their relatives or parts of their families in Lebanon, so it's unclear when they will be reunited. And all of this is happening, this voluntary return, if you will, for these Syrians is happening under these very difficult circumstances with this intensifying campaign in Lebanon. Now people are going to have to try and rebuild their lives here in Syria, which is just now getting back on its feet after the regime fell more than a year ago. But with all of this happening in the region, people are concerned that the situation is going to spill over into Syria possibly, and especially in these border areas like you're seeing here.
Obaida Hito, thank you for bringing us the latest there from the Syria-Lebanon border. It is coming up to 13:30 GMT. I'm fully backable. You're watching Al Jazeera and our continuing coverage of the conflict between the US, Israel, and Iran. These are the latest developments on day 4. The Israeli military says it's carrying out simultaneous attacks on Iran and Lebanon.
Get production back on the market with the invitation of the Venezuelan government to appropriate security guarantees.
This is Beirut, where the Israeli army says it's striking Hezbollah commanders after hitting command centers and weapons storage facilities.
to
A senior
refining, to
Hezbollah
trading,
official
and I
has
think we
said,
can be of
quote,
assistance
if Israel
to
wants
getting
an
the
open
Venezuelan
war,
crude to
then
market
let it
and
be an
realizing
open
market
war.
price to help again.
Israeli
with
attacks
the
have triggered a
financial
new wave of
situation in
forced
Venezuela.
displacement in Lebanon.
So those are
The UN's
short-term
refugee
perspectives
agency
that I have. I'd say
estimates at
be
least
closed with a thank you,
30,000 people
Mr.
have
President,
registered
for
at
the work that
shelters
you've done to
in
secure
Lebanon.
not only the national security but the energy security
And
of
Iran
the region.
continues to launch
And then
dozens of
thank you,
attacks
Secretary
on
Rubio,
Israel and
Secretary Rice,
U.S.
Secretary
assets
Bergen,
across the
for
Middle
your
East.
leadership in this
Multiple
area.
interceptions have taken place in
How
parts
long
of
would it
northern
take you,
and
Darren,
central
this
Israel.
Exxon to
In Iran, at
we
least
make a deal?
787 people have been killed
How long would
since
it take
Saturday,
you
according
to
to the
get in
Iranian
there
Red
and get
Crescent.
started?
Airstrikes
Well,
have been
the first
targeting
step,
several
this technical
cities,
team,
including
as
the
I talked
capital
with Secretary
Tehran,
Wright earlier
Isfahan,
this
and
week, we started
Shiraz.
from the beginning to
And these
put
are
the team
images
together
from
so
the
that
Fujairah
if and when it was
port in
needed,
the
we could
United
hit
Arab
the ground
Emirates
almost
after
immediately
debris
so
from
we
an
can hit
intercepted
the
drone
ground
caused a
within the
major
next couple of
fire.
weeks.
The U.S. State
Start the
Department has
assessment, and
ordered the
from there, we
departure
need
of
to understand
That's what
non-emergency
we want. We
government
want speed
personnel
and
and their
quality.
family members
That's what we
from
want. Thank you, Darren.
Jordan, Iraq,
And
Bahrain,
Conoco,
Qatar,
Ryan?
the UAE, and
Thank you,
Kuwait.
Mr. President. Appreciate the opportunity to be here too.
Now, Iran's
assembled a
Islamic
great team,
Revolutionary
and
Guard Corps
our
has threatened to
congratulations as
set
well
fire
for
to
removing
any
one
ships
of
that
the
try to pass
terrible
through the Strait of
people in the
Hormuz.
world and bringing
Brigadier
them
General
to
Ibrahim
justice is quite
Jabari,
amazing. I
advisor
think
to the
you've
commander
given
of the
hope
Revolutionary
to the
Guard,
people of
says it
Venezuela
will not allow
again,
the
which I
U.S.
think
access
is
to
quite
any
remarkable.
oil.
We've been on the other end of that despot regime a long
price of
time.
oil's reached 81.
Our assets were expropriated. I had a little bit more hair when that happened. And
dollars,
I
and the
think we're
world's certainly waiting for it to reach at least $200. The Strait of Hormuz is closed.